Thank you, Madam President. I also haven't had a chance yet to speak on LB2. And the problem that we have around property taxes in Nebraska, as we all know and understand, is obviously a big web of problems, of lots of things that are interrelated to each other that have to do with the priorities in our state and where we allocate our budget. Over the past several decades, we have created a structural deficit, and we have eroded our revenue with special interest exemptions and carve-outs and tax credits and incentives that are designed to grow our economy in Nebraska and attract more people to the state. High-income people, attract businesses, help farmers, and all of these things in themselves are always well-intentioned. And the process that we have here in the legislature to get to those compromises and get to those agreements, I think, is often very short-sighted. Part of that might be term limits. It might be that we're thinking in 4-year increments or 8-year increments instead of 30 and 50 and 100-year increments for the long-term sustainability of people in Nebraska. And when we look at all of these carve-outs and write-offs and credits that have eroded our tax base and eroded the revenue that we get in Nebraska, we see that that really cuts into the resources that we have to provide property tax relief. And so, to my mind, we're really nickel and diming into property tax relief by creating things like the Property Tax Relief Fund and saying, oh, we put $50 million into it, we put $80 million into it, but then that doesn't actually result in any relief for property owners because maybe their valuations go up, or maybe they see they only get, a $25 or $50 amount of relief on their property taxes. And when we're doing these things that chip away at the revenue we have in our state, at the same time as policymakers, we aren't doing anything to grow our state, to grow the population in our state, or to support the people that we do have here by giving them the things that they're telling us they need. So we need to look at new revenue sources for Nebraska, not only so we can provide property tax relief, but so we can make sure that we have fair public school funding and a fair public school system, and that Nebraskans can access the public services they need, whether they're in Omaha, Nebraska, in my district, in the middle of Omaha, where a lot of our classrooms are a bit overcrowded, where a lot of teachers are spending out of pocket with their own money to get things like dry erase markers and pencils and notebooks and Kleenex for their students. And then we look out in western Nebraska in our smaller rural communities, and we see that these classrooms and teachers have the same problems, that not only are they spending out of pocket, but they're not getting enough resources from the state at all. And as all of us know in here, Nebraskans know, Nebraska is one of the lowest states in the country for state aid to schools. And the way that we can decrease property taxes, in my mind, is not to keep nickel and diming away the resources that we have as a state to continue growing our economic base, but to grow the base by supporting our public schools and by passing policies that we know will not only grow revenue for our state, but attract people to our state. I will bring up the things that I always bring up. Things like controlling a woman's reproductive health. People don't want to live in a state where they can't access contraception, where they can't access reproductive health care.
1 minute.
Things like raising our tipped minimum wage. Nebraska has the lowest tipped minimum wage in the country at $2.13 an hour. And colleagues, we have a bill on the floor every single year to change that. And we know that that will attract people to our state, people who are taxpayers. Expanding our tolerance and our laws and our non-discrimination policies around migrant Nebraskans and our newest neighbors who are taxpayers and who do contribute to our communities. Making sure that everyone who is eligible for SNAP can access that. That's federally funded, and that helps people who otherwise move out of the state to support their families. Caregiving, unemployment for caregivers, affordable housing, health care, legalizing cannabis. These are things that not only can bring revenue into our state and attract people to our state, but actually fill up our coffers so that we can provide tax relief and lower the property taxes because we actually have more people who want to live here. It's a bigger problem than what percentage we're going to put. Thank you, Madam President.